Hi, everybody. I am a minute early, so I'm going to wait a minute and see who comes in. I have said that anyone can watch, anyone can also ask questions, and I didn't limit the type of questions um, that I'll answer. So you can ask me something political, you can ask me something personal, you can ask me something about how the cards function. Um, Anything is fine. This is my belated Juneteenth gift to the collective. A little ironic, of course, since Juneteenth is a celebration of the belated um, information that the enslaved were free and had been free for 2.5 years before they actually heard it. So I guess it's a little appropriate that this is a day late. Um, so anything you want to ask, just put your question in the chat. I see there's tons of people here. If you don't know me, I am Erika Robinson. I am a Lenormandist. That's the oracle that I'll be using here. And okay, we have our first question. Okay, this is for BLT. What do the cards look like for me buying a new home by the end of the year? Thanks. So with Lenormand, sometimes I will use a significator, sometimes I won't. But since you're the first question, I mean, why not? I will. So I'm going to just turn the camera down like I do over on um, YouTube, and I hope you will subscribe to me there if you haven't already, and that you subscribe here if you're not already subscribed. So I'm just flipping through, and um, I'm going to use the ship, and that's for a move. I think I'll use that instead of the house. And I'm taking the two cards that come before it, putting them to the left, and the two cards after and putting them to the right. Okay. So again, the question is, how do the cards look for me buying a new home by the end of the year? We've got the birds, we've got the young man, we've got the ship, which stands for the move to a new home. We've got the child, and we've got the heart. So this is all systems go. It looks like you've got your network in place. Network can mean things like, I don't know, the right realtor. Um, you've talked to the right people about the right place to go and all of that. This is a really good card. This is sort of a go-getter card. So there seems like there's no hesitation. You are all in, gung ho. This would be for the move to that new home. This is new, so it is going to be a new home, and you're gonna love it. So congratulations in advance. It looks like that new home purchase will um, go through by the end of the year. Okay. Um, this is Nancy Cooley's question. Good question. What is the true intention of the dialogue group that Peter Thiel has been running? So, yeah, I don't know if everybody is aware, but Peter Thiel, who is the puppeteer of Vance, or was until recently, I suspect, um, used to own PayPal, sold it eons ago, so he has no part in PayPal now. But basically, he believes that democracy is a failed system, and he would like to fail it. He's trying to destroy democracy. He's recently moved to Argentina, which is interesting. But anyway, that's another story. He has he runs a conference. It's every year. I think it might even meet more than once a year, but called Dialogue. And you know, anybody who's anybody, certainly on the right, has been invited to either attend or speak. Apparently, it costs, I've heard, between 16 and $20,000 to attend, and it's by invitation only. So if you happen to have that kind of money laying around, if you don't have an invitation, you still you still can't get in. What people have been startled by are some of the leftish names, or I'll just say mainstream Democrat. They're not leftist, mainstream Democrat names that are on there. The most prominent one is, to my mind, would be Cory Booker, who is not who he appears to be. I will say a word on behalf of Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland. He was on the list, but he came out quick and said years and years ago he was asked to address the group. He did, and he decided he would never go back again. He's never met Peter Thiel, wants nothing to do with any of them. So I think we can let Wes Moore off the hook. But the list is interesting. The question that Nancy Cooley has is, what really is the purpose of it? So the card for dialogue would be the birds, because that's the card for meetings. So I'm going to just look and see where the birds card is, and see what the real purpose of dialogue is. Not what they say it is, not what they bill it as, but what it really is. Well, my goodness, it couldn't be clearer. One of the interesting little factoids about Lenormand is that there are traditional rules, and one of the traditional rules is if you pull a line of cards and it starts with the cross, the question's either a non-starter or you already know the answer to it, and you're supposed to redraw. I'm not going to redraw. I'm going to leave it here. This is our first card. Then we have the key, the birds, which stands for the actual group. And then we have the coffin, and we have the scale. The scales is the card that I added to the deck, so it's not traditional to Lenormand. But here is the thing: this is not a good sign. Um, it is to damage, hurt, harm, because this is the card for pain and suffering. Um, to damage something, right? Um, and that is what they want to do. This is in the middle, right? I can mirror this card with the fourth card, which is the coffin. So it's about the death of something. They want to go about the death of something. Again, it's under the auspices of making the country better, but in Thiel's mind, that means destroying democracy and having the country run by the the moneyed class, the oligarchs. What's more interesting to me is the fact that we have the cross in the front, and I can mirror the cross with the scales. This is the card for democracy. So it's to end democracy. Whatever they tell you it is, whatever you read about it, that's what the intention is. I think they probably have roped people in who maybe didn't know that that's what it was for. But I mean, okay, now we all know. So let's see who continues to attend that thing, because it's not good. Um, okay, so I'm going to go back. I have my reading glasses on, so hopefully I can keep up. Okay. Um, I did that one. Did that one. Did I skip one? I feel like I skipped one. No, maybe not. Okay. Jennifer Casista. Will I be successful long term in what I've been pursuing for the last 6 months? Well, who knows what that is, right? Uh, but I think what I'm going to do is just pull 5 cards. Uh, will I be successful in what I have been pursuing for the last 5 months? And technically, you're the only one who needs to know what that thing is. I don't need to know in order to answer the question. Okay. We have the lily, we have the garden, we have the bouquet, we have the young man, and we have the mountain. It's always interesting when I pull like this to see what's in the, what was that? To see something dropped, and I don't even know what that was. Anyway, to see what's in the middle, but we'll get to that in a second. The lily. Um, I just want to caution you that because we have this in the middle, that's good. Um, yes, the answer is yes, you will have success in what you've been pursuing for the last 6 months. However, the first card and the last card tell you that you need to um, be patient. This is the card for patience. And why do you need patience? Because there may be some delay. The thing about the mountain that is bad, of course, is that it's a delay and you want what you want when you want it, right? But the good thing about a mountain is that it's an opportunity to pause and reassess and retool as necessary. You don't want to rush it gung ho and then bang your face on that mountain because you didn't see it. So this is making you aware that there may be some delay, some obstacle that you have to address, that you need to be patient, that whatever you do, there's some sort of public aspect to it because the garden is that. And this is you. I love this card. It's a go-getter card. It's yang energy. So it shows that you're doing everything that you need to do to put things in place. And of course, in the center is the bouquet. And the bouquet is a card for a reward. So will you be successful in the next 6 months? Yes, but it could be more towards the end of the 6 months than the beginning of the 6 months, if that makes sense. Okay. Sheila Houlihan. What am I to do when my job ends at the end of this year? A job or my business in Reiki and psychic readings. Okay, so you're asking me about a choice. Should you go out and get, a regular 9 to 5, or should you pursue Reiki and psychic readings? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull 3 cards for each of those choices. So a total of 6 cards. And then we'll see which line looks best. If you think other people would enjoy this, please let them know, send a text, do whatever. And again, if you are subscribed to me here, that's fantastic. I appreciate that. If you're not, I'd love it if you'd subscribe. It costs you nothing. And I'm trying to cross-pollinate. So if you are not subscribed already to my YouTube channel, I would love if you would do that as well. It's called In the Company of Cards too. All right, so let's look. Uh, this will be for getting a regular gig, 9 to 5 job, and this will be for Reiki and psychic readings. Which looks better? Okay. Can't really see, but okay, there we go. Okay. So for a regular gig, again, this young man is getting a workout apparently today. Um, you could get, I don't think you'd have a problem getting another job. Let me just say that. But I don't, I don't think that's the direction that you want to go because the snake is a problem. I don't think you'll have a problem you could have a problem getting a job. I mean, the market being what it is. We have again the lily, the card of patience. I do think you'd find something that you liked, but you'd have to really persevere. Now, the second 3 cards is the Reiki and psychic reading business. We have the Tower, we have the House, and we have the young woman. Well, here's what's interesting. In the top line, a regular gig, we have this card. This is yang energy, go-getter energy. In the bottom line, which is the Reiki and the psychic readings, we have this card. This is this is yang energy. This is yin energy, more passive. It's a sexist system. What can I say? I think that with the Tower and the House, 2 things. It looks like it's like a working from home situation. And also, you may want to attach yourself to an organization that, like a warehouse, a clearinghouse, not warehouse, clearinghouse for readers. Something like what have I heard of? I don't know, California Psychics, or that's the name of it, or Purple Ocean, where they get you the clientele. And there's always a clientele for readings, but you have to give them a cut of your earnings. I've never done that, but this says that could be be helpful to you. Uh, and I think, I mean, not for nothing, can you not do both? I spent, I don't know, a decade maybe full-time teaching and then reading cards. I did it in person in a shop on the weekends, and then I did it virtually. And I did that for a good 10 years before I retired from teaching. Um, the whole psychic thing is, it's hot, but it's also a saturated market. So if you can tap into something like, Purple Ocean or California Psychics or do your own due diligence about these, clearinghouses, you're guaranteed work. You just have to give them your availability, and then you have to be available. And again, they take a cut of your work. So, I hope that's helpful. Uh, Seafarer in the wind. Will my two estranged sons eventually reconcile? So my assumption is that they are reconciled from each other. Will they eventually reconcile? Um, cards, think of cards as kind of a snapshot in the moment. And so will they eventually reconcile? Well, eventually is from now until the end of their time on earth, right? A lot can happen. The best I can do is sort of give an assessment of where the situation is and if it looks as though that's a possibility. And I'm just going to pull, you know what? I'm going to use the dog, and that will stand for both brothers, the two sons, because that's what that card is. Siblings, cousins, that kind of thing. So the dog will stand for both of them. Um, and let's see what we get. Okay. Okay, so this stands for your two sons who are brothers. Okay. We have the coffin. We have this older man card. We have your sons. We have the mice, and we have the sun. Now, um, let me say that the coffin is the card for, I mean, we know what the coffin is. Isn't that what we've all got champagne chilling for? But this is not that. Um, one of the meanings of the coffin is transformation. In other words, in order for something to stop being the thing that it is, in order for something to become something else, it has to stop being the thing that it is. So this feels like transformation, which I think is good. Um, I think this just either this is their dad or who might be here, might be in spirit, that doesn't matter. It could refer to their dad, or it could be that it will take them some time to reach maturity before they can come together. So it's not going to happen tomorrow, but it could happen in time. Yes, this is the card for them, if you recall. And then we have this mice card. Mice is the card for worry, stress, anxiety, and all of that. And I can mirror it with this older man card. So maybe they're just going to have to, experience some life to understand that the bond between brothers is a good one. And once they see that, right, this is like a flashlight that illuminates that for them, then there can be that kind of transformation. So I think it will happen that they'll be reconciled, but trust and believe it's not because you did anything to facilitate that. Let them work out their own stuff. I think in time they will do that. Um, all right. So the next one up is Lisa. I'm wondering about a move this year to the Northwest, and will I be able to afford it? Again, I'm gonna look for the ship. That will stand for the move, and you wanna know whether that is, coming this year. I'm saying to the cards, you know, she's asking if she can afford it as well, so hopefully they will give us some indication. So, again, we're looking for the ship. Okay, this stands for a move this year. Okay, so we have the dog, the letter, the ship, the lily, and the child. So I think, this is other people. So it's important to call in your friend group if that's something that you need to do to help make this whole thing doable. Uh, the letter is such a frustrating card in Lenormand because it's anything in writing. But if you've not already done it, um, put this down in writing, not just in an affirmation kind of way, although you can do that, but also in a kind of a very practical dollars and cents way. How much do you have? How much do you need? How much will you have during the course of the year that can move you towards this goal? Work out a budget, anticipate what the move will require. So put that all down because one of the things that will do is that it'll bring you some peace. You you may have to downsize a little bit what your expectations are. Um, in other words, you start out and you end up somewhere, but maybe it's smaller than what you wanted. Um, or maybe it's not in exactly the right neighborhood that you thought it would be in. So I would say downscale your expectations because you can always scale up once you actually move. But it does look like it is doable. Yes. Um, Connie Crone. How will our daily life change once the ETs are here in 2027? Okay, let's stay in the real world here. First off, and this might not sound like I'm staying in the real world, but okay. Um, ETs are already here. ETs have been here. So if you think that there's going to be like, I don't know, a ticker tape parade or a knock on the door or a press conference, it's not gonna be like that. Energy is much more subtle than that. You may be, encountering and interacting with ETs in every moment. You just don't realize it. So how will our daily life change? I'm just gonna say this, it won't. It won't appreciably. So I'm just gonna leave that there. Peggy. Would love to know if I am to receive a large unexpected amount of money that would facilitate my move back to my childhood homeland. We all this question is kind of a variation on a theme where uh, in literature it's called Deus ex machina, meaning God out of a machine. Well, in other words, Peggy, your circumstances are what they are. You are well aware of your circumstances, but you're just sure that Ed McMahon is gonna rise from the grave and tell you that you won the lottery. A large, unexpected amount of money. Are you doing anything to, move this forward? Because large, unexpected amounts of money do not fall from the sky, but that's okay. Since you said a large unexpected amount of money, I'm gonna use the bear because bear is one of the financial cards and it's big money, the kind of money that would enable you to, change countries, which is what I'm assuming you wanna do. So will you receive an unexpected windfall? Okay, so let's see. I'm just gonna say, we make our own reality. Um, so if you're sitting and just sort of, again, waiting for the phone to ring or a knock on the door, it's not really how things work as a rule. But sometimes they do. So let's say we're looking for the bear, which would be this huge windfall. Okay, so this is this huge financial windfall that you're hoping for. Okay, I pulled 3 clarifiers on the last card, so I ended up pulling 5, 6, 7, 8 cards total because I really want you to get the point. All right, the line starts out with the mice. Then we have the sun, the bear, the dog, and the scythe, and I pulled cards on the scythe. Okay. So, you know, the mice is stress, worry, anxiety, but it's also excitement. What kind of excitement? I always say the example I always use is Walt Disney's Cinderella. If you saw that when you were a child, or since it's a little cartoon, Cinderella, is stuck with the fairy, with the what you call the stepsisters and the evil stepmother, and in the castle, her father's dead, and she is treated as a servant. And there's a ball that the prince is going to have because he's trying to find, a wife. And the ugly stepsisters are invited. Nobody knows that Cinderella exists, so she's not invited. But the fairy godmother comes along and corrals the mice and basically says, the mice who live in the castle have become Cinderella's friends. And so the fairy godmother says, okay, you guys, we're going to make this experience one to remember for Cinderella. So we're going to hook her up with a carriage and footmen and a beautiful gown and all of that. You guys have to help. So these mice, which go from anxiety and worry and stress and all of that, and they morph into kind of like machines, and they are sewing and they are doing all kinds of stuff, and they really help create this experience. So instead of being anxious and worried and hoping somebody's going to come through with this big huge amount of money, I feel like this card is saying you have to morph from those worried, anxious, bad-tempered mice, not saying you're bad-tempered, into the second version of the Cinderella mice. If you want this to happen, you're the one who's gonna have to make this windfall happen. Um, Hopefully that is clear to you. Sun, the bear in the center is this windfall, and then finally we have the dog. Again, this is like thinking that somebody's going to come through, somebody's going to leave you something, or some friend is going to say, here's a windfall. Um, and then we have the scythe, and the scythe is saying, listen, that's not how this works. So stop thinking in that old kind of way, that pennies rain down from heaven, or in your case, you know, $100 bills rain down from heaven, because that's not what happens. So you have to the universe is being pretty direct with you. And then I pulled clarifiers on this. So we have the ship, the young woman, and the clouds. It they the, they are aware, spirit. that you want to move back to your homeland. That's what the ship is about. The homeland where you came from when you were young. But the final card is clouds. So it is doubtful that if you move back, that's the way that it would be done, would be that you have some windfall and then it happens. So you have to be the architect of your own life. Um, because no, the answer is no, you will not get a sudden windfall um, that will enable you to move back to your homeland. But there may be other ways that you can do that. Um, in what ways is Cory Booker not who he appears to be? I don't think I need cards for this, but he is. I, uh, I think he is a Zionist supporter. Um, a lot of his money is Kushner money, Kushner the father, not Kushner the son, and I think he is not as um, progressive as he would have you believe that he is. That's what I observe. Um, Janae Patrice. I've been a songwriter for years, but I always stop short of sharing or posting my songs. What can spirit tell me about becoming a musician? So there's a card for that. The card for all of the arts, performing arts, visual um, and performing arts, is the bouquet. So that's the card I'm going to look for, and we'll see what spirit has to say about that. Okay, remember we're looking for the bouquet. So this is your musicianship. Okay. Okay. So we have the garden, we have the scythe, we have the bouquet, we have clover, and we have the book. All right. So, you know, this is the public, and obviously the public are the consumer of what you produce, right? So they are your audience. And again, the cards are pretty blunt. You have to make the decision to put yourself out there. The bouquet in the center stands for your music. And here's what's interesting. If you make that decision, you will get lucky. Um, uh, in Islam, they say if you take one step towards Allah, Allah will take two steps towards you. And if you're into metaphysics, you understand that that's how energy works. When you whatever you focus on, whatever you turn your attention to, the universe says, "Oh, I guess that's what they really want." Now, what you're putting your attention on is, well, I'm shy. What if nobody likes it? Maybe I'm not good enough, etc. And the universe is not a judgmental place. The universe says, well, all right, then there we are. And it keeps you in that place where you have told the universe is where you want to be, which is this place of indecision and shyness and anxiety and worry. But you can flip that. You can make a decision to flip that. Um, I don't like this guy, but I quote this one line that he said often because it's true. This is Henry Ford, Nazi sympathizer, who gave us the car, Ford. But he said something, and I quote it often, and here it should resonate for you. What he said was, well, whether you tell yourself you can or you tell yourself you can't, you're right. In other words, You're the decider of this, the direction of all of this. But the cards are also saying, if you take one step towards Allah, Allah will take two steps towards you. You could have a lucky break. Somebody in the audience hears your music. If you go to like a neighborhood coffee house or something, or a talent show or whatever, um, however you do it, you could get lucky. And by the way, this is unexpected. At Clover's unexpected too, but this sort of emphasizes it. You're not expecting it. And I pulled clarifiers on the book: the sun, the mountain, and the birds. So what you don't realize, what you're not understanding is you're blocking your blessings. Not to sound like a televangelist or anything, but you're blocking your blessings because you are putting obstacles that are just creations of your own mind between yourself, yourself and the audience. This is the audience. These are both audience cards. If this is the audience, this is the buzz that gets created when you put yourself out there and people say, "Oh my God, she's really good. Have you heard her stuff?" Whatever. So, whether you tell yourself you can or you can't, you're right. But the universe is also throwing you a little gift and saying, if you do put yourself out there, be prepared to be surprised by some lucky thing that happens. So that's kind of exciting. Okay. Uh, okay, this is B. Harris. Hi, Erica. I'm wondering what you see regarding my long distance relationship moving forward. Okay. So I'm going to use the heart because I'm assuming, we're talking about a romantic relationship, and see where it's going. Okay. Okay. So this stands for your long distance relationship. Okay. We have the fox. We have the scythe. We have the heart that stands for the relationship. We have the lily, and we have the young man. I'm going to say that there are two quotes from literature um, about long distance relationships. One of them is absence makes the heart grow fonder. But the other one is its opposite, which is out of sight, out of mind. And I'm going to assume that you're female, but maybe you're not. Um, I don't love the fox at the beginning of this reading. Foxes, each card has multiple meanings, but in this reading, um, this is, again, I guess some people have a theory that what you don't see can't hurt you. And if it's, I just, I think you may discover that, I don't know, like sailors have a girl in every port. Feels like that to me. I think that this person that you are in this relationship with needs to mature, grow up, because it feels very much like if they're, if not right now, moving forward, they'll want to have their cake and eat it too. And the image that keeps coming to mind, like I said, is that expression about sailors having a girl in every port. Um, so I think it's just something to be aware of. I know that's not what you wanted to hear, but uh, okay. Just scrolling. Okay, this is Helen. Hi, Erica. Can you see if my niece will win her court case in July? Okay. I'm gonna just pull 5 cards for that. Let's see what comes up. Okay. We have the letter, we have the scales card, we have the fox in the center, the sun, and the heart. So just to cut to the chase, because I know there's gonna be a lot of more questions being asked, I think she will win her court case, yes. Um, I think she has the documentation, to make her case. This is the card for all things legal, for justice, right? And I can mirror it with the sun. So I do think that justice will be done as far as she's concerned. Um, you know, here I like the fox. I don't know if this is a job related court case, could be, or it could be that she just was meticulous in making sure that she had the right documentation. But I think she'll be very happy with that court case. So good luck. Uh, okay, if you've already asked a question, let other people in, please, or step aside, or however you want to put it. Um, and if I can get back to you, I will. But I feel like yeah, I've seen that name before, so we're going to skip that. Um, again, let other people have a chance. Okay. Uh, okay. Sakina Abdur Rashid. I've had cognitive losses from long COVID. I've taken college courses and a foreign language to keep my brain busy. Will I be able to reinvent another version of me? I love that question. I love how you phrase that question. So I'm going to use the moon as the significator because the moon is the card for reputation, but it's also the card for identity and our understanding of our right to take up space in the world in the way that we do. So you have phrased that question very, very well. And let's see what the cards have to say. So we're looking for the moon. You're negotiating and coming to terms with and becoming acquainted with your new normal. So this is your new normal. Okay. So we have the heart, the ring, the moon, which is the card we were looking for, the book, and then fish. So, I mean, these are great cards. Um, I think you're committed to loving this new version of yourself, committed to loving this new version of yourself. So I like that very much. Uh, but you ask the question, well, what does that even mean? Like, if I'm committed, what is that? Because the book is about things we don't know. You're discovering daily who this new version of yourself is, right? You're being surprised on a daily basis. The last card is fish. And I will say that you may be more um, intuitive. Moving forward, you may be more connected to your, um, emotional needs, which is good, your emotions, so all of that's good. And then I drew 3 clarifiers for it. So the dog, the lily, and the letter. I hope that one of the things that you're doing is journaling about this. And I don't know what the cognitive losses are, but you're taking college courses, you're doing a foreign language. You know, if writing is difficult, then try it a different way, like try dictating if that works better for you. But I just feel like one of the things that you're going to do is help other people come to terms with the kinds of changes that we all go through in life, right? Like I'm about to be 70 years old. That's old, in my opinion, in anybody's opinion. I'm just saying 70 is old. It may be the new 50, but 50 is no spring chicken either, right? So I have had to adjust to a lot of things um, being about to be 70. And I can bitch and moan about it and wish that I were 30, but I was 30. I had that opportunity. And now I am this age. And so we all go through these things, right? You've experienced it with long COVID, but all of us will experience some version of this, right? Throughout our lives as we sort of cease becoming the people we were and then become the people we are meant to be. And so I think you will be um, at some point creating something that will be of a lot of help to people, will help them find peace around this. This idea of being where you are in the moment. Um, and whatever you produce, I think people will really love. And I think that it will start out by just being you being metacognitive about this experience. In other words, you watching yourself, right, as you unfold into this new iteration. So, for now, just keep doing what you're doing, but journal about it because I think every day will be a revelation, uh, and that you will make something good out of this lemon that you've been handed. So that's really, the cards are nice. Okay. Um, oh, thank you so much, Ann Atkins. I appreciate that. Okay, Jenna D. Will my wolf dog Quincy, who died February 2024, be coming back to me in this lifetime? So let's look. There is a dog in Lenormand. This will stand for Quincy. And the question is, will he come back to you in this lifetime? So remember, we're looking for the dog. This is Quincy who died in 2024. Will he come back to you in this lifetime? So here he is. So, mm, the child, this is something new or something um, less mature, I'm going to say. And I'm going to say that from Quincy's point of view, you're kind of looking at things the wrong way. You're looking at it the wrong way. Here's Quincy. And then we have the stork and the fox. So I feel like what I'm being asked to remind you of is the fact that Quincy died, but did not leave you. All Quincy did was change forms, which is to say, Quincy is always with you, and that, I think Quincy does not feel it necessary to come back in, I don't know, dog form again and have you recognize this new dog as him. Like, if you get another dog, let that dog be who it is, because Quincy is he never left. In fact, you could argue Quincy, and isn't it funny we have the fox and you said it's a wolfhound. So wolf, fox, the universe says same difference. Um, Quincy is actually, while always with you, simultaneously has become a better version of himself and has his own soul's path. I'm an animist, so I believe everything has a soul. He is following his own soul's path. The stork is the card for improvement. And he is a new, improved version of himself. He's trying to become, he's about his business. So again, the spirit is not bounded by time and space. Quincy can be with you while Quincy is experiencing, I don't know, life in another dimension. That's doable. That's possible. In fact, that is what happens. So if you get another dog, for example, let that dog be him or herself. Don't require that it be of, the reincarnated Quincy, because that's problematic for all concerned. Just, the Buddhists say that the source of all human suffering is attachment. You had a relationship with that dog that was special and close, and you miss the version of it that you experienced. But you can still be in relationship with that dog. It's just that that dog is in spirit. Simultaneously, you can be in relationship with another dog who has another soul, who could benefit from your love and affection and companionship. So let's maybe not burden Quincy with the obligation to return in a form that is recognizable to you. With that snake there, that's Quincy saying, "Yeah, miss me with that. I mean, I love you, like you, but I have, I have another plan for myself and my soul's progress." So that's what the cards are saying. So there you go. Um, Hi, Elder is the new Black podcast. Thanks for joining. All right. I'm just looking for questions. Okay. Is that it? I think I've answered everybody's question. Uh, happy to answer a couple more. Or I'll go back because I saw that there were people who double asked, which, but that's okay because now I can go back. Uh, okay. Nancy Cooley, because I know you already had a question, but that's okay. You're not the only one who did this, but I'm going to go back and answer your second question. How will the oligarchs react once the felon exits stage left and the Dems have taken back some power? Um, do understand, uh, Nancy, that there are oligarchs on both sides of the aisle, just so you know. Um, yeah, I guess that's what I want to say about that. So, the fact that the Democrats take some power, well, look, I mean, I'll just look at the cards. How will the oligarchs react? Let's use for oligarchs, let's use the bear because it's big money, but it's also, aggression and an assumption that they are king of all they survey. So we'll use the bear for the oligarchs. How will they react once the felon is no longer on the stage? I suspect that we will all be simultaneously drinking champagne at the same time. I'm just going to say. But let's look. So we're looking for the bear. That will be the oligarchs. Uh, it will not be their best day, because, of course, the felon is malleable and, um, subservient to them, and that's a plus for them. So we have the mice, the book, the bear that stands for the oligarchs, the young man, and the anchor. Cards are very clear to me. Uh, First things first, they'll be nervous, they'll be scared, they'll be worried. You know, will there be hearings? Will there be committees? Will there be arrests? Will there be trials? Will there be convictions? They're wondering about all of that. This is things they don't know, so that's what they'll be worried about. Can they um, can they insert themselves into whoever the circle of whoever is next in power and win them over? Um, they'll be asking themselves that too. They really won't know what's coming for them. Here they are in the center, and then we have the young man and we have the anchor. This is them, and well, no, I don't want to say this is them. Uh, This would be the new guard, whoever is next in power, and the oligarchs don't know what to make of that. Do they have to worry? Will there be January 6th trials that are more consequential than the ones that we already had? I think it's very interesting, the anchor, because I can mirror it with the mice. Here's what I think. An anchor is an oxymoronic nautical instrument, right? An anchor, if you're a ship and there's a storm, you want to be at berth, in the slip, and you want to be at anchor because then you won't be, tossed on the seas and, you know, broken up to smithereens. So that's good. That's when an anchor is good. An anchor can keep you safe, but an anchor can also sink you. In the 70s, when the mafia ran out of concrete blocks, they would put an anchor around your ankles and drop you in the East River. So I think they will be sunk for the moment. And again, remember that I don't want to sound like what was his name, Mitt Romney. Remember when he said, uh, "Corporations are people too, my friend." I'm not trying to say that. I mean, oligarchs, in fact, are people. And people in government are also people and susceptible to all kinds of things. Look at Merrick Garland, in whom we had such hope, which he dashed, right? So the oligarchs are going to say, who can we get on side? Whom can we bribe? We've got Cory Booker in our pocket. Who else can we get? They'll be asking themselves that question. But even amidst asking themselves those questions, they know they're sunk. And they're terrified of what comes next for them. Okay. I'll look to see if there's anything else, but I've been here an hour, and a lot of times you all like my voice. Well, I don't know about you all, but YouTube loves my voice. I think it's weird, but they love it. But it gets hoarse, and then that's not fun for me. So, just gonna see if there's anything else. Good, Jenna. Um, Oh, okay. Here's our last question. This is a BLT. I mean, you want the B and the L and the T, huh? You want it all today because I see three different questions. Okay, this is the last question. So apparently, Harry and Meghan will be, or have been invited anyway, to the UK this summer. And, because it's the lead up to the Invictus Games that Harry's spearheaded. And apparently, Charles, Harry's father, offered them, we'll call it royal accommodations upon their return. So the loan of some house, right? While they stay. They have not apparently, at least as far as we know, and again, what do we know? But they have not yet made public their RSVP to this royal invitation. So but the question is, will they be safe? And I think that we'll just leave that at that. Will Harry and Meghan and the children be safe if they go back to the UK this summer? And I mean, just so you know, I'm team Meghan and Harry, so, okay. Will they be safe? Interesting cards. We have the coffin, we have the fox, we have the moon, the ring, and the house. Um, mm, uh, one of the meanings, as I mentioned earlier, of coffin is transformation. But the immediate vibe that I got from the card was more staying safe and cloistered and enclosed, which they could do, right, if they stayed in a royal property. So there's that. Um, I think they will take all the precautions that they can. They're not stupid. I mean, for God's sake, we all know how Diana died. So they are. I think they are wary of the invitation. Not that Charles is somebody that they need to be wary of. It's not about Charles. It's about the firm, meaning the the dark suited people, the people who run the whole enterprise. I think that they are distrustful of those people. But in the center we have the moon. And the moon is the card for identity and reputation. And they are family to the royal family. The question is, how do you do that and live your life in an autonomous, in an independent kind of way? Um, the ring is the card for commitment. I feel like contract. I think that they will have certain conditions that they'll want to put in place, Harry and Meghan, to ensure their safety. Um, but I do think that if that they will take the trip and that it will be transformative, transformational, uh, reinvigorating, um, transformational for what? For the House of Windsor, for the family itself. I think there will be some sort of way to make peace, at least between Charles and Meghan and Harry. William is kind of a tough nut. I get why. He represents the institution, and Harry threw a hand grenade in there with that book, Spare, which I read. And I'll tell you what, maybe every girl wants to be a princess, but when I read that book, I said, God, thank you for not having me be born into that family or married into that family, because it's not fun. It's the firm. But I do think that this would be a first step towards reconciliation of the House of Windsor. All right, everybody, it's 4:04 where I am on the West Coast, and thank you all for keeping me company and letting me read for you. Please, if you are not subscribed here, please do subscribe here. I write here normally on Tuesdays. Don't normally do videos, but sometimes I like to pop up and do videos. But if you go to YouTube, I'm there, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a week, where I look at politics and culture and race. And, um, and that's called In the Company of Cards. I would love, love, love to get to 40,000 by my 70th birthday, which is at the end of July. If it doesn't happen, it's fine. It'll happen during the course of the year at some point. But if you have people whom you think would enjoy my work, um, I would love you to pass the word so that we can get that number up as well. So thank you so much, and I will see you either here or over there on YouTube. And have a great, great rest of your weekend. Take care.